hops. With me, as always, I have Alex and Dan. How's it going, guys? Yeah.
I'm okay, I guess.
It's going that
so
well.
tired. I'm so very tired.
Yeah.
So just a warning to our listeners. Last night we were brewing another batch of the Year Brown Hops IPA, one of the most delicious IPAs I've ever had, and it was a late night, especially for Dan and Alex, who stayed till the very end and wrapped up pretty late. Yeah. It would have been neglection of duty if you had left.
Just leave my own house and let the beer keep boiling.
I stayed for team support and help Alex finish everything up, but I'm like, there's not much, unless I like steal his book, I'm not sure what to do if he leaves.
Yeah, so pretty sleepy. But we're powering on because
Yes,
of
we are.
our love of beer. Speaking of beer, this episode is all about Oktoberfest. We're being very seasonal today.
Prost!
Prost!
Cheers.
You son of a bitch. So to start off with, we poured 4 beers, and we thought it'd be interesting to do 2 American Oktoberfests from big American breweries, like basically as big as you can get in the craft beer industry. The Sam Adams Oktoberfest and the Goose Island Oktoberfest. And then we're comparing those to 2 German Oktoberfests. And there we have the Spaten and the Paulaner Oktoberfests. So we're going to take a sample of those 2, see how the Americans stack up against the native German beers, and go from there. So, guys, which ones do we want to start with?
I guess the one that, when you say Oktoberfest to people, everyone's like, oh, I love Sam Adams Oktoberfest.
All right, let's do it. And real quick, just to bring up something we mentioned earlier during the initial pouring, it's so hard to tell these apart. The color is so similar in all of them.
Oh my god.
Which I guess is a good sign since they're all the same color, or they're all the same style.
I mean, you guys are a little further away from the light, but mine are kind of like the American ones are a little bit darker than the German ones.
Okay, yeah. A little bit more of an amber hue
Yeah.
for the American ones.
I can see that.
Yeah. And I get the light going on it the right way.
I really just want to drink on air and just not say a word. I'm actually really thirsty right now. In fact, I just finished that Sam Adams Oktoberfest. I don't even think I tasted it.
As a testament to just how good it is and how much you can drink.
Let's not go so far to
Dan's
say how
just-
good it is. I just said I was
It's
thirsty.
just gone. Well, I mean, just to touch on some of the obvious stuff. I mean, this is a Marzen style. It's really known for its maltiness, with little bit of spice thrown in, but nothing too crazy. And you're definitely tasting that here. I do get a little bit more spice on the Sam Adams one than I do on some other Oktoberfests.
Hearty smooth with a deep malt complexity and roasty sweetness.
I'm looking through the 2015 BJCP style guidelines, and I am not seeing Oktoberfest in here at all.
Really?
Huh.
Is it mentioned in the Marzen category?
No? I'm not seeing that either.
What the hell?
It's illegitimate.
Let me pull up the other one. 2008.
Do we know if like Oktoberfest has to? I mean, obviously in Germany they have some pretty strict purity laws. So does it like, if it's American, does it just not qualify as a true Oktoberfest? So you can't call it one?
No, I don't think it's regional in the sense that it has to be made somewhere to be called a proper Oktoberfest. I think that is truly the style. Plus, Oktoberfest came around in the early 19th century. So, I mean, it's still in Germany, but it's a couple centuries after the purity law first came around, and it was a bit more liberal of a society then. Did you find anything?
I did find it in the 2008 style guidelines, Oktoberfest Marzen.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually enjoying the Sam Adams Oktoberfest right now.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Except
But I'm really interested to move along through them and see which ones, and come back to it after tasting Goose Island and tasting the German ones.
it's leaving a malty stickiness though around like on my lips.
There's
a pleasant malty
there's a bit of-
stickiness?
I don't know when anything that's ever been sticky on my lips to be really pleasant.
All right, that's fair. So for direct comparison, should we go to the Goose Island? Take a sip of that?
Sure.
Goose Island Oktoberfest with dried apricot and toffee aroma. More of that fucking with tradition again.
Yeah, but I don't think that's added in. I think that's just
Hints of?
Or a result of the
a result of the
not
brewing
a-
process and the things that they use. Oh yeah, I'm looking at the website right now.
It says traditional Marzen on it, so.
Yeah, those things aren't added, but the malts consist of 2-row, caramel 20, caramel 20, caramel 120, caramel 40, carapils, and a Munich 10. That's a lot of caramel malt.
Explains
So-
possibly why it's so dark.
Yeah, lots of caramel malt.
Tastes a bit smoother to me than the Sam Adams.
It's not as sticky.
It might the lack of stickiness that Dan described might be coming across to me as smoothness in this one. So yeah, that makes
Sticky
sense.
German. No, Americans.
With the Sam Adams, I was getting caramel, and I think that's where that stickiness is coming from. But with this one, I'm getting more of a burnt sugar and toffee type of flavors.
You would think I'd be so sick of Oktoberfest after what we went through last night.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we haven't moved on to the German beers yet, but we were enjoying some German beers last night. Over at Spring Garden, local place here.
Third festival of the season, Schlagfest.
Schlachtfest. Delicious. Good German beers. Platter of blood sausage and liver sausage. Bratwurst, if you still have room. I didn't. Compatriot of ours did. Shout out,
Yeah.
Tom.
How do you eat an entire plate of blood and liver sausage and roast pork and then still have enough room to power through 2 brats?
That was his dessert, bratwurst. He had a main meal with sausage and sauerkraut and all that, and then for dessert he had a bratwurst.
He had 2, I think.
He had 2?
I think he had 2.
I didn't even see that.
I think after, like the 5th pitcher of beer, he was just like, yeah, I think I need something more in my stomach. This ain't doing it for me.
Awesome.
Was he pretty much just trying to get his fill because he knows he has to wait until next spring for the next
Maybe,
Schlagfest
yeah.
festival? Yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of time between Schlagfest and My Fest. Yeah, it was a really nice festival, though. I've gone to it a few. Well, Dan and I have gone to it a few years now, and it's a lot more chill than the Waldfest festival that they host in July over the summer.
Oh, that
A
shit
lot,
show.
a lot more chill. But just a good traditional German festival. You have communal seating, open tables, grab
Weather
a
was
pitcher of
beautiful.
beer. Yeah, very good weather.
I got
It's nice
2
and
pounds
cool
of
yesterday.
blood sausage. Blood sausage.
Yeah, all that sausage that they cooked, the broth afterwards, they'll actually hand out in cups.
Yeah,
Which
Tom
is
was going
just-
crazy for that broth.
Oh,
It
Last
is
night,
so good.
that's like
The-
he mentioned it a few times, and I was like, I need to try this broth.
It's amazing.
It's that, like, if you like that type, like, if you love all that, the minerally, salty, like, all the fat that renders off from the sausage after it's been cooked. And all it is literally them taking water and boiling sausage in it. And after it's all said and done, all the spices from the mixtures of everything creates this elixir of love that's it's just pot liquor. It's so good. And as the thing gets lower and lower, they're just scraping the bottom of all these meaty bits.
Oh, there's so many meaty bits in there. They're delicious.
So Tom was drinking the elixir of love and meaty bits.
Yes. Yes, he was.
Get it, Tom.
The kid serving it actually warned him. We went back for like the 4th or 5th time, and the kid looks at him and is like, you gotta be careful with this stuff.
It's like pure sodium.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. I really don't care. This is not about you and your concerns for my health. We've each had probably a pitcher of beer to ourselves, and now I'm topping it off with probably 5,000 milligrams of sodium.
Oh yeah. And then we went and brewed beer.
Yeah, that was the Your Brand Hops IPA was the 3rd beer that I brewed yesterday. Started at like 9:30 in the morning, Did saison and then a porter, and then finally got to the your brain on hops.
That was a marathon day.
You
for
started
you.
sooner.
It was a long freaking day. It was fun though. Watched football all day, and
Boo, Bills.
yeah, let's not talk about them.
Yeah. This is a happy podcast.
Yes.
Is of those beers that you brewed yesterday, is there one that was harder than the others, or that you had to pay more attention to, or were they all pretty much kind of like standard?
They're all pretty standard. I think the one that required the most work was the your brain on hops. Just the amount of hops.
A lot of shit going into it.
Yeah, just, I mean, every few minutes adding more hops to it. And it was a 10-gallon batch, and the other 2 were 5 gallons, so it was a lot more grain. As Dan knows, he helped me mash in. You measured out the hops,
I did.
Chris.
I did. And then I put in one of those ounces of hops as well.
More than one.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, good for me.
Chris is still watching football.
I would pat you on the back, but you're too far away.
Later, I'll take a rain check.
And now it sits in the corner, gurgling away, producing all that lovely alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
Yummy.
And that will be served at a wonderful, full-fledged pig roast and barbecue event
Oh,
in
yes.
about 2.5 weeks, which I'm not prepared for.
Yeah.
I'm doing so much research because I'm a pork guy, so I don't do briskets, and I'm doing some briskets this year, and I don't want to mess that up. I'm like,
I was gonna say, why would you need to do research? Because this is your 3rd year in a row doing it. But you're trying
adding
some
on.
different things as well.
Oh, we're
this
adding
year.
on. There's going to be some shit going down.
Very nice.
Meat palooza.
Meat Palooza.
Oh, that is exciting.
My events are not vegetarian friendly. You can bring a vegetarian dish, but I'm going to let you know it's going to be surrounded by meat products.
Yeah. The meat products are going to gang up on it. This is not a safe space for vegetarian dishes.
The only thing I eat when I go there is the meat.
Yeah. Even, like, we have rolls and stuff if you want to make a sandwich. And even then, I'm just like...
You know what?
I mean, I could put it on a bun, or I could just get a bowl of meat.
Yeah, you know what? Last year, I started with it on a bun, and then I immediately, after that, I just, tossed it right on the plate and just...
It's like, stupid bread. You're taking up precious
filler.
space in my belly.
Exactly.
You're
Right, I
taking
can
up
put
space for meat.
Meat and beer.
There was so much meat and beer last year.
Yeah, I ended up bringing, I think, like, 6 or 8 growlers of homebrew, and...
We had kegs on hand. We
Yeah.
had a bottle share going. Like the thing ran until about 3 o'clock in the morning. Everyone just let's be honest. Everyone was probably a little bit drunk. In a cabin, like a nice warm cabin, till 3 o'clock in the morning, just polishing off a 6-still of grapefruit sculpin from Ballast Point, and drinking a bunch of homebrews and having a blast, and just totally not thinking of anybody but themselves. Just rolling around in filthy gluttony.
Literally rolling around. There was a lot of leg wrestling.
There was leg wrestling, yeah.
Champion still!
Gonna defend the title this year?
See how I'm feeling. There wasn't much defending last year. I mean, there were some people saying I was doing it wrong. I was like, there's no other way to do this. And physics just dictates I'm going to win. All you scrawny, skinny people.
Your sidekick, physics. All right, well, let's move on to one of the German beers here. It's
Already
just
did.
sitting here calling to me.
Which one are
Mine already called.
As,
Yeah,
as
I
Alex
keep polishing
toasted me
off
with
glasses,
those guys.
and I think this is the Spaten. What are you guys drinking right now?
I moved on to the Paulaner.
Paulaner.
Paulaner it is. A lot lighter to me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Not as malty, sticky, sweet.
Yeah. Well, I think the caramel is the American Oktoberfest.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been noticing, drinking all different Oktoberfests. It's that all the American ones seem to be some form of caramel malt in it or caramel flavor in there. Whereas the Germans are a lot more bready and light and drinkable.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely it's
cold,
still
refreshing.
Yeah.
It still has that sweetness, but it's a bready sweetness. It's truly it's definitely not a caramel malt that's producing that
Right.
sweetness.
What is it about, like, I mean, let's be honest here, we're getting into fall. I mean, today it was cold, like, but we're heading into that, it's already out there. We're heading into that season of the aforementioned pumpkin beers. And what is it about, like, yeah, we're falling, like, we're heading into that, like, the Oktoberfest, it's the end of September, beginning of October, and now all these, like, very malty bomb beers that Americans love that at this time. Like, for me, I always go for, like, when it's cold out, I like my barley wines, I like my stouts, and things like that, and I'm not a fan of, like, the spicy, malty.
So you don't like that interim period. You want to go from, like, IPAs, sessionable ales, lighter lagers in the summer, right to, like, barley wines and stouts.
Refreshing.
Kind of. It's like there's a slight transition, but I'm like, unless it's like a German, like, it's really light, crisp, and refreshing. I'm like, no seasonal, harvesty, pumpkin spice, latte, toffee beers. You have no room for on my shelf.
I actually like a lot of them. I'll try certain pumpkin beers every year. The Dogfish Pumpkin Ale I really like.
Well, you're a fool.
I'll try pumpkin once.
You want the ones that you want the ones that
Once
I
every
actually
year. I
sitting
want
on
to
my
see how it's coming along, if they've changed at all, and I don't know. It's all right for one, but I do really like Warlock.
You want the ones on my shelf that have been sitting for like 3 years?
Pumpkins?
Imperial pumpkins and Warlocks. I think I got 2 bottles of each, and they have been sitting there, and I'm just like, I don't really know when I'm ever going to drink you.
I would help take some of those off your hands.
Why don't you bring them over for the next episode?
Yeah. We could have a
make me drink
follow-up
them.
for fall beers.
Yeah. There we go.
I didn't say I wanted to drink them. I said
We
I wanted
didn't say you had to drink them. I just said bring them.
for the next episode, which I'm assuming I would be a part of.
They will be drunk, but yeah.
But we might just crack a bottle open and keep it on the side for us.
Yeah, side beer.
Yeah. We haven't had a side beer in a while.
When was the last
show.
side beer?
I don't know.
Yeah, typically we've just stuck with the beers that are actually on the show.
Right.
Side beer.
Dan's getting super into this. It's always good to have a side beer.
Getting some side.
So I'm going to move on to the Spaten.
I'm going to follow you there.
Tell you guys this time.
I'm going to tell you guys, that is definitely skunky.
Yeah, it's really skunked.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you guys that before we even started this podcast, I took a sip of every single one of these beers because I couldn't hold out.
Because I couldn't hold out.
Like, after we poured them all out?
Oh, I took a sip of every single one.
Oh.
I ran my nose across all of them and I went...
Well, thank you for your honesty, Dan. Much appreciated.
Actually, I was going to go back to the Paulaner because Chris and
I want to go back to the Paulaner because I can't deal with this skunkiness.
I was going to say Chris and I just came back from Toronto, from Fan Expo, Comic-Con, and had an absolutely wonderful time. And while we were there, we stopped at a magical land of more sausages and beer. And it's a restaurant out there called WVRST. And they do some impeccable work. Not only just in food and their sausages, like, you're talking about 17 different sausages of game meats and all sorts of things, duck fat fries, to the point where, like, homemade ice cream where they put duck fat fry bits on the ice cream if you want them. But that it's also... it's kind of it's that German stylized beer hall, long tables where you have to sit with other people, have conversations with people that you may not know, and then there's this lovely bar. And this bar has, I forgot how many taps. I'm still going with like 24 taps. Like 6 ciders,
Yeah, it's
six,
definitely up there.
it was like,
I'd say 18 to 24.
yeah, 6 ciders, 6 German beers, and like another 12 of like other craft beers from around the regional area. And then in the middle, I loved it because there was 2 taps, one for bourbon and one for Jaeger. But on the wall, there's just postings. Every single bartender, their Cicerone license right up at the top, and right along this, painted on there, and not dry erase or anything like that, is painted on a full year schedule, 2-week intervals of when the lines have been cleaned, crossed off every single time. And then I'm just assuming when the year starts up, they paint over the wall again, write it all out, and keep going.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really neat to see that up there. I mean, I've known, well, especially with the certificates for Cicerone, I've known bars where they require it or encourage their bartenders to all have at least the first level beer server Cicerone license.
Yeah.
But they actually put them all up there, and you could just tell that they took pride in their bar. And
Yeah.
like even putting up the dates when the lines were cleaned for the beer, it was really impressive. Actually, so we were there early September, and they had a date for August 31st, and it wasn't crossed off. We brought it up to the bartender, and she's like, "Good catch. We did clean them. I guess like no one just got
Decided
to cross it off yet. Because it is paint." And we're like, awesome. So it's like newly clean lines that we're drinking great beer from.
Nice.
It was beautiful. Like, I ordered my food, and they're like, well, you can either order your beer here, or you can go over to the bar. And I'm like, well, I might as well order it here. And like, well, what did you want? I'm like, just, I'm eating a lot of heavy food. I just want something light right now, nothing major. And this girl was stunning. And once again, bartender, like, just immediate bartender crush, but she just throws down this Paulaner's, just Paulaner's 1 liter mug. And I'm just like, do I take it? Is that for me? And she's like, no, but you can get that if you would like that. I'm like, I want that. I will take this. Absolutely. So they're like, all right. So I'm like, she walked away, and I'm talking to the other guy, and I'm like, so do I take the glass to the bar? He's like, oh no, you leave that with us. Not knowing that someone told me later, it's like, they're also hinting at to leave them a tip. And I'm like, that's the tip jar? Because there was no money in it to actually signal that was a tip jar. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like, so I had to I just tipped the bartenders heavier when I went back to the bar. But then I took my number to where my seating was, and before the number hit the table, she just walks over with this liter mug of beer and sets it and goes, there you go. And I'm like, such great service.
Yeah, really, really great. I like it was almost a dichotomy with the beers they had there, because they had a flight of 6 beers, 6 German or German style. I think they might have all been German, but definitely
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, so 6 German beers. So those were all a little bit lighter, easy drinking, than the 5 to 7% range. And then they had other craft beers that you could get individually, including a vintage tap, which had a Tempest Imperial Stout 2014 from Amsterdam.
Very good.
And Dan and I, we saw that. We were like, well, we got to get one of these at least.
They're like, you came on a good day. Like, we just tapped this cask. Like,
Yeah, it was
right.
Perfect timing.
Timing's perfect. I'm like, then I will have one of these 10% beers that you ask of.
Maybe 2, depending on.
And then they also, not to mention, they also have like another 600 bottles and cans in a cooler system that you can just choose from. But when you're paying, the prices are not bad, $5 to $6 a pint. It's pretty much what we pay here.
Yeah, good.
Plus,
good prices.
The dollars. No, I'm sorry, Kenna, but the dollar's right now in the shitter. So I came out like a bandit when I was a kid. I loved it.
Their dollar's not so much in the shitter as the American dollar is doing really well for various
Fair
economic
enough.
Reasons.
But I exchanged all my money.
Good for us, though.
Yes, I exchanged all my money, and it was, if I did that, I'm like, I'm getting like 2 for the price of 1. Yay!
Yeah, that is really nice. But so when we tell people we go up there, we say we're going up there for Fan Expo. It's like a Canadian Comic-Con right in Toronto at the Convention Center. We say that, and it's like, but it's like that's like 50% of it. The other 50% is beer drinking and getting around, and that's one of the places we went to. We also went to Bar Hop which is a pretty great beer bar. I compare it to the old Blue Monk in Buffalo. It kind of has that vibe to it.
Very yes.
So we go there. That was pretty great. I actually went to Steam Whistle Brewery this time.
Yeah.
And yeah, Dan didn't make it, unfortunately. But
why did Dan not make it?
so
do you want me to tell my side of the story first before, like?
No,
I'll tell my side second.
Yeah, you can tell a second. So we don't, just backstory, we don't have internet service up there. The hotel is Wi-Fi, and that's pretty much what we use. And we're like, we don't need constant texting anyway. So we don't have cell service. So I went to Steam Whistle. It's like a 5-minute walk from the convention center, and I didn't have anything going on that afternoon. So I just wandered outside, and I'm like, oh look, a brewery. So I went over there. They had Wi-Fi. So then I brought up Wi-Fi, brought up Messenger, and messaged everybody that I was there with that I'm just hanging out at Steam Whistle. Probably be there for like a couple hours if they wanted to join me. The other 2 people we went up with, they saw the message and responded. We didn't hear from Dan at all. Later, we found out he went back to the hotel room because he was also done for the afternoon, and he just tossed his phone on the bed, didn't look at it, and sees the message a few hours later when we returned to the hotel room.
Well, this is okay. Now, in my defense, so that day, I'm like, we all looked over our schedules, and we're like, there's not much really going on. So we had made a plan, like, you know what, we're going to get separated, we're all going to different events and panels, we're going to come back to the room. Well, I finished up everything, and I'm like, I've been waiting in line, I met some really cool actors, actresses, and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm done, I'm tired, I'm just going to go back to the room, I'll hang out till everyone gets back. I'm like, I figured, I'm going to have the room to myself, I can kind of relax, drink a beer or two, because we went to the LCBO, and, kind of filled the trash cans full of ice and just kept the beers cold.
Nice.
A recycle bin makes an excellent makeshift ice cooler.
Yes,
it does.
But I get into the room, and one of the people that we were on the trip with, she was there, and I'm like, and I kind of got a little disappointed. I'm like, I just really wanted to be alone and relax. And I found out she almost had a concussion because some cosplayer almost took her out with this wing and just beamed her in the
She was cosplaying as Ray, I believe, and she had the staff, and it was a crowded area. She got beamed by Ray's staff.
Yes. Oh. So she's like, I've got a headache and whatnot. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm so sorry. Didn't even check up on her, and I'm just like, you know what? I feel gross. Jumped in the shower, took a quick shower, jumped back out, and I'm looking around, I'm like, I'm gonna go back to the con, I think, and just wander around a bit, I guess. So I just left her there, and I just went back, and I'm like, you know what? The guy, I'm like, Chris is, I think he said he was gonna be done at 5. I'll come back in an hour or 2. I get back, and as I'm walking into the hotel room, there's just 2 guys selling Crown out of the back of a Jeep.
Nice.
And I should now. That's what the story I told Chris and Mike and everybody like that. I'm just like, but what it was is that I realized that the Jeep was a promotional Crown Jeep, and they were giving away free samples of Crown, of apple and vanilla and whatnot. And do you want some? Are you legal age to drink? And I'm like, I am. I'll definitely take some. So I just took these samples. And I went back up to the room. No one is there. I see, one of the other guys' stuff is on the bed, so I'm thinking, he's got to be around somewhere, so I'll just wait until everybody gets back. Threw my phone on the bed. I didn't even turn on the Wi-Fi. I didn't even bother to look at messages. And I started drinking whiskey. I turned on the TV, and then I just sat there. And I'm like, I don't really know what's going on with these guys. All 3 of them just walk in the room, we were over at a brewery. Where were you? And I'm like... clearly ignoring all of you. I'm like, I was upset that I missed the brewery, but at the same time, I didn't give a shit because I'm like, I'm being very selfish on this trip, and I made that perfectly clear. I don't care about any of you. We're adults, and we're on our own. I made my mistakes, and that is my fault. If I wanted to go, I should have checked the phone, but I clearly didn't because I was in my moment.
Drinking Crown.
If I drank more Crown, I probably would have put that safety lock on. Pants would have been taken off, and I would have been like, "No, it's my room now." Key card's not getting in here.
We would have knocked. be like, I'm not wearing pants, and we'll be like, okay, we'll come back later.
We'll go back to the brewery.
It's okay. Yeah. Oh no, gotta go drink more beer. Yeah. So
The other thing we
just
did...
a quick comment. Really cool brewery. Definitely like a commercialized space, but it was really neat being there. They're very open. They do tours all the time of the brewery, and the Pilsner. I mean, it's the only beer they make. And it's great. I could just spend all day there.
The only beer they make?
Yeah. I think they might do a variation once in a great while, but it's nothing standard.
Really? Because I've had only one of their beers, one being in Toronto, but it was always a canned
The
version.
Steam Whistle Pilsner.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I didn't know that was the only one they made. Interesting. Yep. Seems like for a brewery, though, you would have at least a couple.
Yeah, I don't really know what the game plan is there. If that's something they ever want to do, or if they're just happy. I mean, it was super busy while I was there. It's a fantastic location, right near the waterfront and the convention center. So I don't know if they did do or expanded into other lagers because they clearly know how to do a lager. That'd be pretty sweet.
Well, I'm on their website right now, and I went to Our Beer, and it's singular beer. And it says, our focus is on making one beer, a premium Pilsner that Canadians can be proud of.
They can be proud of it. It's very good. All right, well, I think it's time to move on to the second part of our show, where we do 3 Oktoberfests. Craft beer Oktoberfests.
More Oktoberfests.
And we're back.
Yes, we are.
It's going to seem like no time has passed at all due to the magic of sound engineering. But we just poured our next set of Oktoberfests, and so basically the first one, it was German beers versus big American brewery Oktoberfests. This one is more in the craft beer realm of Oktoberfests, and the first thing that I'm noticing is the color difference. You can definitely tell that some of these breweries are playing around with the beers and not just going for, straight up classic Oktoberfest. To start us off with, we have Great Lakes Oktoberfest, we have Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest, and then we have Dan's favorite brewery as well, the Jack's Abbey Oktoberfest, which is actually called Copper Legend, I believe. Yeah,
Yes.
it's phenomenal. So, guys, which beer are we going to start with?
I'm already drinking Copper Legend, so I don't know about you.
No, of course you are.
So, Copper
You
Legend.
can do what you want. I'm just going to sit here and drink this.
First thing I noticed about this beer is it seemed a little bit hazier than the other ones. The other ones were pretty clear. This still has a bit of a more like a yellowish color rather than golden like some of the other ones, but a little bit hazier.
It's very effervescent. And actually on the Jack's Abbey episode when we were talking about them, there was a similarity across the board, and I'm getting that creaminess once again.
That's
you
right.
say that like it's
Yeah.
a bad thing.
No, it's a wonderful thing. It's one of the things I really like about their beers.
Yeah, it's impressive that they have that across their entire line.
I love cream in my mouth.
Keep that in.
I love the look on Chris's face. Like I don't know what to say to that.
You're a man alone on that, Dan. I enjoy this.
I'm pretty sure there's
creaminess
a
of
good
this
section
beer,
of the
but
population in the world that I am not alone.
There we go. We're going for that cream in mouth audience right now with Dan's love of this beer.
Well, I think I know where it comes from now. Looking on their website, it says we use locally grown wheat, Munich malt, and noble hops. So that wheat is what's going to add that creaminess.
Any wheat?
Yeah, pretty much any kind of wheat, flaked, malted wheat. It'll all add a creamy mouthfeel to the beer. That's one reason we added to the Your Brain on Hops IPA. The first time we are talking about an ingredient that's in the beer.
Yeah, that's true.
And the last.
Other than just talking about the metric shit ton of hops that we throw in there,
Yeah.
we haven't really gotten into specifics.
Metric ton of hops. What'd that do to a beer?
No. Metric shit ton.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Metric shits.
This is some JV league. All right. Well, with the last batch of Oktoberfest we had, I like the Goose Island one the most. So it was close. The Goose Island beer, the Sam Adams beer, and the Paulaner. Those are all enjoyable for me. I could drink any of them at a German beer hall any time in the fall and enjoy myself. The Spaten might be good, but it's just too skunky.
Mm-hmm.
But the Goose Island is definitely the one I like the most of the original four. Right now, the first beer of this batch of 3, I like this one more than the Goose Island.
I would agree. I think the lack of caramel, I think there's a hint of it, but I think the lack of caramel kind of hits that intermediate point between the Goose Island and the Paulaner.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's definitely there, but it's so much less than the American beers that we had.
Yeah, it's an accent, not a forefront flavor.
Yeah.
You get that sweetness, but yet it's still refreshing to me.
Yeah.
It's not so heavy.
That's a good point. With all that sweetness, that would impede my drinking a little bit, because I wouldn't want to just keep having that. Okay. Theoretically, it would impede practically, probably not. But with this, with the caramel flavor there kind of toned down, I mean, I could just keep going after these.
Yeah.
But obviously they're coming on tap more. ABW, they actually had the Jack's Abbey Copper Legend on tap for a little bit, and I couldn't drink anything else. I'm like, I don't really want anything else. I can go to this beer and I know I'm going to love it. I could just keep the pint flowing. I'm like, it was ever so often just take a 5-ounce glass and go, more. I'm like, I want more.
When people came in asking for recommendations, you like Jack's Abbey, and they're like, "Well, don't you want to know what kind of beer I like?" And just respond,
"No, Jack's Abbey.
Not necessary." No. Jack's Abbey.
I pushed the Jack's Abbey on so many people, and now it's actually I went out. All the bartenders at ABW have our pick of the week. It's the Copper Legend for me right now.
Really?
It is the Copper Legend. That is my pick of the week right now.
You are true to Jack's Abbey.
I love that brewery.
All right, well, I'm going to move on to the Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest because I'm really curious.
I am so remarkably impressed that this is so incredibly light. I was not expecting that coming out of the bottle.
Yeah, it looks like a macro brew Pilsner.
Yeah.
I looking at this beer, it could be Miller High Life.
What's that flavor I get?
The hops.
Hops?
It's like spicy.
I'm going to take some water. I'm going to take a sip. Getting overwhelmed with malty goodness. My mouth.
I'm not getting that much malty goodness from Sierra Nevada.
No, it's not that.
My first reaction isn't. I mean, it's
light.
It's not bad, but
it's very light.
My first reaction is this is an Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
This is probably closer to the Paulaner than anything I've had so far.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it says on the bottle, it says brewed in collaboration with Marsbrau of Bamberg, Germany.
Yay!
So
intermediate.
Malty Oktoberfest lager is deep golden and balanced by German-grown record hops. I've never even heard of those hops.
Yeah, I'm getting very little of that, and really any malt character. That roastiness or sweetness or I'm definitely getting the hops, but honestly, to me, it tastes more like a sessionable IPL.
I wouldn't even go. Well, I wouldn't even. I was gonna say I wouldn't go as far as IPL. I feel like it needs more hops at that point, but at the same time, it wouldn't be pale ale or pale lager because I don't think there's enough malt to back up the hops.
True.
It's almost like a macro brewed lager with a lot of hops. Well, more hops than what they have.
Than what they actually throw in, yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I'll be honest, I'm a little disappointed because with this pale, clear color, I really wanted it to still have that big, robust malty undertone that the other Oktoberfest had. I just kind of
Yeah.
like play with my mind a little bit, like those golden lagers do. So it's a good beer. I like it, but it does match the color. It tastes the way I expected it to taste. It doesn't have that malty body that the other ones did.
Oh, well, we got a second.
I was really looking forward to something just nice and light, crisp, but having that malt complexity.
Yeah.
I want to taste these side by side.
It's not a bad idea.
We
Let's
have
get
the
a
extra
little more
bottle.
Paulaner in our life.
Mic drop.
That wasn't a mic.
That was a cap drop. Do you know how loud that would be on? I just took my mic and dropped it. I'm out. And now I need a new mic. It's broken.
It's alright, we have an extra for our guests.
I won't be allowed to use it, though. If I break something, I don't get to use another one.
So Dan, you're pouring some of that Paulaner to taste side by side with the Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest.
I am. I wish I had more light over where I'm sitting. But it's just so incredibly darker.
Oh, it's noticeably darker.
Smell it. Smell the Paulaner. Do you pick up that toffee aroma again? I think that Paulaner's a lot maltier.
Oh,
than
yeah,
it was.
definitely.
Like it's, you can see it from just the color, the taste, the aroma.
The
I'm actually, I mean, these were chilled, but I think if I got the Sierra Nevada, like cold, hot day, that'd be really enjoyable. Like,
I could see that. Kind of goes against the whole idea of an Oktoberfest
True.
though, when the weather starts to turn chilly.
yeah,
yeah.
it's not what I would go to. Like, it's not. I think I'm gonna have to put some more Paulaner in my life. Fill my fridge with Paulaner.
If someone was doing an Oktoberfest in summer event, sometime in July or August, that Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest would be a great beer to serve during it. Although we should keep in mind too, Sierra Nevada is in California, so maybe they are making a beer where it's still 80 degrees in October.
We are doing.
They're in Chico. That's northern
Oh, are they?
California.
We're doing.
I was trying to find a reason
Yeah.
for them to make this kind of Oktoberfest.
We're
I
doing
was being logical.
We're doing the pig roast on October 1st, so maybe we have the Your Brand on Hops, and the winner of tonight, maybe we get a keg of that one to go with it. We make our own. We make our own Pigtoberfest.
He's saying that because Jack's Abbey's gonna win.
And I am okay with that.
He's
I could see
planning.
about getting a 6 still of excess and see if that stacks up to Your Brand on Hops.
Ooh,
It'd just be an IPA bomb night.
that'll be a lot of good beer.
It would be a lot of good beer. I'm good with either. if you want to test the Your Brain on Hops IPA, have at it.
Yeah, I can't really think of a beer that I'd be scared to have the Your Brand Hops IPA test against.
Billy's Chili's.
Maybe
Ghost Face Killer.
I would not want to test that beer.
I don't even want to taste that beer again.
I kind of want to put that beer into like a pot of chili.
I say go for it.
Yeah.
Serve the chili. It'll be an all meat beer festival.
And no other peppers in it. Just one bottle of Ghostface Killer.
Think it would work? Would it be enough?
That's a lot of heat in that beer.
Or reduce it down?
It's definitely worth a try. I mean, we got to find something to do with the bottle of that, because drinking it is just a poor option.
Yeah.
And yet you drank a bottle on your own.
I regret that.
Yeah, I regretted it too. And I had mine after we tasted it that one night.
So did he.
Yeah.
It's like I went back for more punishment.
Mine was just a matter of
Those
pride.
endorphins, man. They get
I
you every
open
time.
it up, and I'm like, I paid for this bottle. I'm going to finish
I'm gonna
it.
fucking drink it.
A half hour later, just sweaty, regretting life. Like, I drank you, you
Throat on
fucker.
fire.
I had the Stone Crime and Punishment, and I cracked the crime,
Oh, yeah.
and I drank. I was like, I'm going to attempt to drink this because I don't know when anybody's going to actually want this. I recorked the bottle and I stashed it in the fridge, and I'm like, I'm not using this for drinking purposes. This is going into chili, probably.
Was it crime or was it punishment that was the hot one?
They're both hot, but one's using the arrogant bastard, and one's using the double. No, what's the other one?
I thought they were both arrogant
One's
bastard.
using a different beer though as a base.
I thought they were both arrogant bastard variations.
No, crime is one beer, and I thought punishment was a different one.
They're both
No,
on the arrogant bastard website.
they added chili. They added a chili to one punishment. They add the ghost pepper.
Yeah.
They leave the ghost pepper out of the
Ouch.
crime.
Just ouch.
So yeah, it's just it's like 7 different peppers in crime, and then I go, we're adding an 8th. We're adding ghost peppers.
Because 7 wasn't enough.
Yeah.
We want your asshole to hurt.
Hurts just thinking about it.
Mission accomplished.
Regrets received.
So I'm going to move on to the last beer,
Sounds good.
which is the Great Lakes Oktoberfest.
This is currently on tap at ABW right now.
Oh, okay.
Last year, this was, to me, it was one of my favorite Oktoberfests that I had last year. I didn't drink too much Oktoberfest last year, though. But this one, I really enjoyed.
I don't always drink Oktoberfests, but when I do, I drink Great Lakes Oktoberfest.
Really? Because I drink Jack Abbey's.
So vehement.
Isn't it Jack's Abbey, not Jack Abbey's?
You shut your poor mouth. I know what I said.
He
I
will
regret it.
He will defend that house.
This is my house. The house that Jack built.
Well, this is definitely of these
That's
three
right. Silence
that
when
we're
you taste
tasting.
this beer.
Of these 3 that we're tasting right now, this is definitely the most like the bigger ones we had earlier from Goose Island and Sam Adams. More of the
Fruity.
I don't want to say traditional, but
It is
more of the
it is
American
slightly
style.
A little fruitier.
Which one said apricot on it?
The
That was
Goose.
the Goose Island.
Yeah.
I didn't
Goose
get
actually-
apricot in that. I kind of get a little bit of apricot in this.
I can see that. I think that was I will admit, Goose Island, when I saw that, and because I thought then they added apricot and whatnot, I was like, then is it really a true Oktoberfest? But if they didn't, and they said they didn't, then I'm like, that's a great marketing ploy to get people to drink. I was like, you know what? I don't think that was you, Goose Island. I think that was them. By them, I mean the evil ones, the Dark Lords, the Dark Lords of beer.
Yeah, think about the...
They
Didn't
shall
they
not
just
be
buy
named.
the... Oh, no, they don't do Dark Lord. I was going to say, didn't they just buy the brewery that brews Dark Lord?
I didn't even know there was a beer called Dark Lord. Now I want to drink it.
It's an imperial stout. It might be a Russian imperial stout, but it's like a huge in alcohol, and they have the Dark Lord Day once a year. That's the only day you can get it. Kind of like Pliny the Younger. They release it one day. Once it's gone. But like it's the same type of deal. When the place opens up, there's already a massive line out front with people waiting to get in just to buy a bottle.
Cool. Can't we, like, I'm waiting to do it.
3 Floyds.
3 Floyds. Dark Lord.
I'm waiting for us to do a road trip. Like, we were planning, I think we were talking
We
about.
should do it for something like that.
We were talking about doing we've been wanting to do Vermont, Maine, and then stopping in Vermont, and staying a couple days in Maine, and coming back, and just picking up a shit ton of beer, and just, like, set for life. Or at least the next, next 2 weeks.
The following weekend.
I still have 1 sip of sunshine and 1 focal banger left in my fridge.
See, because we've had those so much,
Sip,
I
sip,
would
sip, sip.
almost want to branch out and find some other really good IPAs.
Well, here's the sad part, because our friend who sold us those, and he brought them back for us, he was there, and literally the next day, the Alchemist put out a new beer, and he missed it, and then Lawson's put out their stout. And he could have had that one, and he was so disappointed.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, I would have taken
One
that.
day, 2 beers.
Those are some big misses.
And he's
Yeah.
like, damn it!
A friend I work with went to Vermont recently, and he actually went to the Alchemist brewery. They so it was closing at 7
The new
that
one or
day.
the old one?
And that I don't know.
Aha!
But it was closing at 7, and like they were around the area, like 6:30, 6:45. And it was him, his wife, and their kids. And his wife's like, I want to go to Ben and Jerry's because that's the big Ben and Jerry's thing is there. And he's like, well, I want to go to Alchemist. So they split up the kids. He took the youngster who's less than a year and doesn't know what things
on.
are, and she took the 2-year-old who actually can eat ice cream. And so she went there, and then he made it to the Alchemist and got some Alchemist beer before they closed up. I gave him props for that.
Actually, if we want to do Vermont, there's the gentleman, and he said to me, he goes, well, we stayed in a bed and breakfast. He's like, but the place was huge. Like, the rooms I had, like, every room had their own bathroom. Like, the place I had, like, we were side by side, but, like, I had 3 beds in my room, and I only needed 1. He goes,
wait, 3 beds?
Yeah, he said there were 3 beds in his room.
That's
I was
just
like,
extravagant.
He's like, yeah, I don't know why they were there, but he's like, hey, I could sleep anywhere now. But
you have 1 bed for sleeping, 1 bed for jumping on, and 1 bed for,
don't cross-contaminate.
Don't cross-contaminate.
So then he said the best part was going downstairs in the morning and breakfast. Everything, like the brunch, he said, like the breakfast he had, they made everything. It was delicious. Like eggs, he has like eggs Benedict, everything. And then you look at the bottom of the menu, it's like, you can have a Bloody Mary or a mimosa. And he goes, they'll pour you a heady topper at 6 o'clock in the morning because it's. And I'm like, yes.
That's magical.
And he goes, and it came
amazing.
with the room. It was a free continental breakfast with heady topper. And I'm like, I need this name of this bed and breakfast, and I need to cook.
Yeah.
I'd feel bad eating those delicious breakfast foods that they made because it would take up room that I could fill up with heady topper.
I'm not going to turn down eggs Benedict in the morning with a heady topper.
See, I would have the dilemma of eating a little bit of that eggs Benedict and then taking a sip of the heady and then being like, I'm done eating because I just want to drink.
I'll have some of that liquid bread in the morning.
Exactly.
If I keep eating, can I get another heady topper?
Eat your food and you can have more beer.
I don't know what it is about me lately, but I have been on an eggs Benedict kick, and when we were in Toronto, at one point, me and our buddy, we went down to breakfast. And we're all set to order, and I'm just like, I just want eggs Benedict. I don't know what it is.
Real quick, we're at the Royal York Hotel.
I love that hotel.
Fairmont Royal York.
There's nothing that hotel, like, I've
Great
never
service.
been
Great food.
disappointed in that hotel.
All around.
Like, absolutely impeccable service. And the waiter comes up and he goes, I would recommend doing the breakfast buffet. And we had walked in there, we've been there several times. I'm like, wait, you have a buffet somewhere? Like, where? And he's like, it's over there. And I didn't even realize the kitchen is open to the facade is open to the restaurant. I just thought food came out, like, from the back. And he's like, no, there's a full buffet. It was a gorgeous buffet of just breads and pastries, fresh fruit, smoked salmon, like an entire area of scrambled eggs, sausages, bacon, crepes, and then made-to-order waffles, pancakes, and then I just see this list, made-to-order eggs Benedict. And I'm like, yes, I want that.
I will take them all.
And the chef looked at me at one point. He goes, "It's going to be about 30 seconds on those eggs." And I'm like, 30 seconds? I want it now. How dare you?
The sad thing is, at a place like that, there probably are some guests who be like, 30 seconds. This is bullshit.
Well,
do you know who I am?
The other chef, he was standing there. He goes, "Yeah." He's like, "How dare you take longer than 15 seconds?" And he got the joke. But it's weird because if you look at you can spend I think the breakfast was $30 some odd dollars, like Canadian, and so, but you can keep going up as many times as you want.
That is the definition of a buffet.
Well, no, but here's the thing: the in-room service for the if you were to just order like eggs and bacon and things like that for the same price doesn't get you that amount. But then also, it was at the very bottom, like if you wanted eggs, if you wanted hard-boiled or anything like that, they actually had a section where it actually read, "How long do you want us to cook these eggs for?" So I'm like, hard-boiled egg. I'm like, and it says, how many minutes? And I'm like, can I just be like, give me a 30-second egg? And I'm like, if this is a 45-second egg, how dare you give this to me and kick it back?
Throw it in their face.
Take it back!
Do it again.
Make it again.
But 15 seconds less.
Have you not heard of carryover heat? You need to... I said 30 seconds. That means you've got 15 seconds to bring it up to me before this gets too hard.
See, I appreciate them doing that, but honestly, if somebody's going to make me something, I want to describe what I want, and then I want them to do it very well. I want to use their judgment.
Yeah. I mean, they did everything.
Show me what you got.
Yeah. I don't want you to just be a robot. Like, I want you to fry it 30 seconds, flip it, fry it another 30 seconds, and do it.
Anybody want more Jack Abbey, or because I'm going to finish this can?
Go for it, Dan. Audience, we have a stare off.
Actually, I was looking for the Goose Island.
There's a ton of Goose Island left.
Where?
There's a bottle there, and that's the other bottle.
Are you talking?
Is that the empty one or the full one?
It's a full one.
Chris, more Jack Abbey?
No, I'm good.
I'm trying to taste the ones that I really liked against each other.
Good call.
Going back to Kenna, if you haven't noticed and you haven't followed us on... I don't think I posted it. I haven't posted it.
More words, Dan. What are you talking about?
I never posted the photo.
What photo?
The Kevin Smith photo. I never posted it to Instagram or our page.
The photo
I posted it on my page.
Oh. Well,
I never posted it to the podcast.
Oh. Yeah, so Dan got to meet one of
My
his
hero.
heroes, Kevin Smith. Which, I mean...
Podcasting legend.
Podcasting legend.
This podcast would not be here
Did
if
you
I...
sing any Enrique Iglesias when you met him?
No, but I did tell Kevin Smith that I was like 30 seconds away from crying, and he made me take the photo, and then he hugged me. And he's like, now you can let it out. And I was so happy with that. I'm like, couldn't be a nicer guy. And I'm like, yeah.
Quick background here. Dan was... So, Kevin, if you don't know, Kevin Smith is famous for always wearing jerseys, hockey jerseys. And he has just tons of them, different, all custom and whatnot, for different stuff that he does or whatever. Dan made his own jersey for Your Brain on Hops. It actually has the Your Brain on Hops logo up on the jersey. So he wore that jersey when he took his photo and met Kevin Smith. And that's why the podcast came up as well.
And I got just spit up all over myself.
That's what wet naps are for.
Just a normal Monday night for me.
That's what happens when I think about Kevin Smith.
He just started drooling.
Just spit taking.
He's like a dog looking at food.
But he actually asked about the podcast, and I got to talk to him for just a brief moment because he was being rushed out there. Because that man will talk if he can. And the photo is him pointing to the logo of our podcast, and I was so happy. I was like, that right there, that made my trip. That was it. I was like, I'm out.
Mic drop.
I got my signed autograph from him and Jason Mewes. I got my photo with all three of us. I'm like, podcast is gold.
Yeah, that jersey that's pretty sweet.
I plan to get another one. I'm going to do a more goalie style, and I'm going to get another one that's embroidered. Probably more for a winter time.
Ah.
I can wear around.
So you'll have a jersey for the barley wines and stouts, and you'll have a jersey for the ales and IPAs.
Absolutely. I might go retro colors. I might go Kevin Smith retro colors. Not the Ottawa, but Edmonton.
Old school.
Yes.
Very nice. So, Alex, I saw you pouring the favorites of tonight together, and you're looking pensively at them. What's your take?
Jack Abbey is my favorite.
Yes! Oh, yes!
It's really freaking good. Yes. And you know what? I think the flavor profile with the Great Lakes is actually my four favorites so far.
Wait, what are your four favorites?
So the
top
Jack's
four.
Abbey, Goose Island, Great Lakes, and Paulaner.
Okay.
Great Lakes is last. I'm actually thinking I'm really liking the Paulaner second compared to the Goose Island now.
Really?
Yeah.
So Paulaner and Goose Island for you are 2 and 3, and Paulaner is edging out Goose Island.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, how come?
The caramel, the toffee, and the Goose Island is almost being a little bit cloying. Like it's hanging around a little too much, and it's not drinkable.
That lip stickiness that Dan was referring to earlier in the podcast.
Well, we know how Dan's lips get sticky, and he likes the creaminess in his mouth.
It's not an unnatural state for him.
You've been talking about Kevin Smith, so there's just stickiness everywhere. I'm drunk. It's like, why not? Well, I'm not drunk, but
You're just drinking?
I'm just drinking.
Just drinking.
Thinking about Kevin Smith, horny, just I don't know. Man crush. What am I gonna say?
That's. I never
Inhibitions are being lost.
Man crush with as horny before. But
Hey, why not?
I suppose the two go together.
Sure.
I mean,
I find him to be a very sexy man. I'll say it.
there did look like there was some chemistry in that photo.
Dan's like, I love his whole body of work.
Yes.
During the photo, he's like,
You can't just
"What's
love the
rubbing
work
me
of the
right
man.
now?"
You gotta love all of the man. And this is where the shit starts to break
And
down
see,
and get
now-
weirder.
This is where it goes.
Here's the thing. He saw the podcast logo. He probably looked us up, and he's going to listen to this episode now.
Oh, I so hope he does. He will get a. He will love the ending. In fact, I'm going to throw out links to it. Yes.
Well played.
Let us fuck.
And on that, that's about all the time we have tonight.
I hope I really can't get sued for that because technically that is not mine to take.
We'll throw a copyright on it.
Okay.
We'll tag it. Jason Muse. Thank you so much for listening. Visit us on our website, yourbrainonhops.com.
Wait,
on
we're not gonna
Facebook,
do what we've been
Your
drinking?
Brain on Hops.
We've been drinking Oktoberfest.
Yes, that's... We've... Well played,
Good
Alex.
enough. Good enough.
Instagram and Twitter at Brain on Hops. Hopefully, Dan will be posting that photo of him and Kevin Smith. So
I have some people
definitely
to tag.
check that out on Instagram.
Look closely, you will see his boner.
You will see.
It is fully erect right now.
The first fan to send us a photo pointing to it.
Just big arrows right at the end of the photo.
It's,
We should probably get an explicit tag on iTunes, shouldn't we?
Yeah, that's something we definitely need.
We sometimes do not pull punches.
Although,
It's
I
just-
guess the fact that we haven't been caught yet means they really don't pay too much attention to it.
Fuck it.
So, fuck it. iTunes.
Well, on that note, prost, motherfuckers.
Prost.
Prost.